Good afternoon guys and welcome back to the Everyday Golfer. Today we are testing two sets of irons out here with an everyday golfer who has recently changed, but have the changes been worthwhile? Let's get him in here and let's see why we've made the changes. Right, in comes Frankie with his irons. So his old irons on the left, Apex TCB, Frankie. No good?
No.
Up for sale here at Waterfront.
Yes, someone buy them please.
Somebody buy them, otherwise Frankie has to look at them.
Yes.
And new irons, T150s, Frankie. Very happy with those?
Yes.
Right, we're going to talk through today here why Frankie's made these changes. So obviously a brand new set of golf clubs, still in the season. Why has he done it now and why didn't he do it in the winter? Let's get into it. First up, Frankie, we're going to go on this hole, this beautiful par 3 here at Royal Waterfront. Looking very good because Richard Jones is off again. So well done, Brad, Ollie and Charlie. Can't see them. Actually, they're out on the golf course. They could be anywhere out here.
Somewhere down there, I think.
Keep up the good work, boys.
Yes.
Richard, work to do. Right, so obviously here we've got 165 yards, Frankie.
Yes.
With your new irons, what club is it?
It's between a hard 8 and a 7 with no wind. There's a bit into, to be fair, but I reckon I can still get it there with an 8.
Okay, so let's go 8 iron with your new club.
Straight in.
We've gone the T100s, so not the we've gone the T150s even. We've not gone the T100s. We've gone T150 for that, a little bit more forgiveness. We know they're a little bit stronger lofted than the T100s and Frankie's previous irons. But he's a lot more confident in getting a nice penetrating ball flight straight towards the flag and should be around about pin high, Frankie. So interesting there, an 8 iron. We know we've got the 8 iron in the Apex because what we're trying to show here is exactly why you have changed. Obviously you would be thinking here straight away with your Apex a 7 iron maybe?
Oh, I reckon I'd even go 6, you know.
Yeah.
Here.
So we've got the modus shaft in these. Again, a stiff shaft, a 120 gram.
Yeah.
With chain shafts in the T150s. But we saw that these would launch extremely high, Frankie.
Yeah, I think it's a high launch and high spin shaft, which for me isn't very good.
Yeah, it's not the combination that we want with
yeah.
And that's again all down to you guys. Obviously it's all dependent on your impact factors. How do you return the club? What kind of angle of attack have you got? How much loft do you take off the clubs? But a shaft is making a huge difference here in his new irons. And you can see straight away there. Again, exactly identical shots, but we can see from that one there that has come up short.
That's very short.
The one on the green's from another video, and we can see the other one is just behind the bunker. But we can see straight away there, that's probably 15-20 yards short, which like you said there, Frankie, is probably a 2 club difference.
Yeah, well, I mean, I struck them both good. I mean, you can see the T marks. And that one, it's like short of the bunker.
Yeah, short of the bunker, whereas the T150 is carried over there, so straight away, you're just making it easier for yourself, Frankie.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just why struggle, really, like, if you don't have to.
Yeah,
that's the
why
thing.
Struggle? So, a little bit stronger lofted, which we'll talk about now. So guys, we've got to the Callaway. We can see that it is at least 10 yards, 15 yards short of the green. And we can see just over the bunker is the T100. So 2 degrees stronger. Normally we'd start to see maybe, you know, 4 or 5 yards difference. We can see straight away here we've got around about 15 to 20 yards difference, which, like we say, is nearly 2 club lengths, Frankie.
Yeah, well, for the fans that couldn't see, it pitched in the rough as well, did my 8 with a Callaway, so
big differences.
It's 2 clubs. I reckon I had to hit 6 there, and with that one it's like I'd have to chip a 7, really chip a 7, and that's probably still too much. So
yeah, so very interesting there, guys. Like we say, obviously going to stronger loft is not always the case. A lot of people say, oh, I'm not going for stronger lofted clubs, I'm not doing that. But if it makes it easier, Frankie is a scratch golfer, plays in the league team, plays for Sheffield, and we know there, obviously, he's a good player and he's gone to that to make his game easier. So if you're a mid-handicap golfer, why are you making it harder for yourself? Why are you staying with something that's more traditional? Yes, if you enjoy that and you can still get the distance, that's great, but Frankie's done this. He has changed his shafts to work around his game. And a big thing when fitting is, A lot of people will buy clubs offline, so Frankie could have easily gone and said, right, I'll get some T100s, same shaft, just because they're a bit stronger, it should launch slower. That might not be the case. You might not then see any difference, so getting the shaft and having a fitting is massively important. And if you are looking for fittings and you are in the area, then Kyle is our specialist fitter here at Waterfront, and he'll be able to sort you out, just like he has Frankie. But let's get into the longer irons now. Let's start to think, how has that made a difference? Is there even more difference with those clubs, or is it the same? Let's talk about looks. So the T150s are an iron that is designed to have a similar shape to the T100, the player's iron, but it is a little bit more forgiving. So we do have those changes in the engineering to give it that little bit more forgiveness, also get it coming off faster, and that's exactly why Frankie has gone for that. The Apex TCBs we know are much closer to the T100s, again a player iron, not as forgiving, and Frankie's just found for consistency, for hitting more greens, which he needs to do, yes. Which, as he mentioned in a previous video, he did play a competition a couple of weeks ago, 16 greens in regulation, much easier, much more confident over these irons. But now, if we get into talking about long irons, Frankie has got his 5 irons here. He is going to hit off this par 4 here at Waterfront. Looks wise, Frankie, obviously down at the golf ball, how do they look? There's obviously, we know you've chosen, you've paid for your irons now, but yes. Looks down at the ball, is there much difference, would you say?
Well, this is my old one, so this is very small, I'd say. But the look, it doesn't look like, my new ones don't look like it's like a chopper's iron. It's it still looks like a player's iron, it's just a bit bigger. But that's just a bit more confidence.
Again, has it got obviously a little bit of a longer blade length?
Yeah, bit longer, bit wider top line, I'd say, if anything. But apart from that, really, nothing major.
Yeah, so we can see, if we put those side by side now, we can see obviously the T150 at the front has that little bit longer blade length, but that little bit thicker top edge, but there's not too much difference, and that is something that obviously you took into account, Frankie, when choosing these irons, and that's why you didn't go for something like the T200.
Yeah, that's where they start to get a little bit bigger, and they can be a bit more inconsistent with spin and that if you're hitting it like... If you're hitting it good, if you need like ultra forgiveness, then they're the best irons. But like for me, I can hit it decent, so I don't need all that forgiveness. You know, I need something in between. Yeah, exactly. A little bit too strong for Frankie. Wouldn't then obviously have the room at the bottom end of his bag. So it'll be interesting to see which wedges Frankie is going for. Has he gone for 4 wedges? Has he gone for 3 wedges? We'll see in coming weeks. So straight away there. We know that's going to get a higher ball flight. That was very high.
Pretty good strike though, Frankie.
It was a good strike. I mean, I was good with those. I had some good rounds with those irons, but they just don't go far enough, which I'll show you. Thank you for the tee. Ooh, that's very green.
Green tee. Seed tee. Yeah, they just didn't go as far as you wanted to, especially when Frankie played in the wind. As soon as he started to play any links golf, those clubs would be very hard. It'd be a very long day. I
didn't play links golf. That's how I got round that. I just didn't play links golf.
He avoided it. He wouldn't have enjoyed my trip this week. Right, T150. And again, straight away we can see a lower, more penetrating ball flight. Yes, that's a combination of the shaft and a little bit of stronger loft, but like we mentioned on the last, 2 degrees should only equate to 4 or 5 yards.
Play our game, seed.
Oh, play your game. Let's get down there.
Boom.
Okay, so as we come up here, we can see 2 straight down the middle, so exactly what we expect from Mr. Fairways.
Yes.
But first up, what ball was it, Frankie?
My first one was a tailor-made.
Let me have a look. So off we go, and as expected, tailor-made, and we can see probably 10 yards there.
Yeah, not as much as I thought.
Is the tight list. So interesting enough here, we've got probably the same 8 iron in with your T150. So let's hit that in from your tight list golf ball. We'll pick this one up. But that's exactly why Frankie has changed, guys, and very much down to obviously changing that shaft. We know that he's gone into that AMT True Temper White.
Yes.
S300. To get him that lower spinning flight, to get him launching it exactly as he wants it to. You can see on the screen there exactly what it says on there is we've got lighter shafts in the longer irons to help get a little bit more speed but still get the trajectory we want, and then in those lower irons, so your pitching wedge, we've got heavier shafts to get that correct flight. We're not hitting them maybe as hard, we're not trying to get those up, so we need to control that. But in we come here, Frankie, with the T150, the new irons. which we'll be putting to the test on 9 holes shortly on the channel. Can he hit another green? It's turning over a little bit, but it catches the left edge of the green.
Yes.
But guys, that is Frankie's new irons, that is why he's changed, that is the comparison. A little bit stronger, but we know that Frankie's enjoying them so far.
Yes.
And we'll see him with these playing 9 holes next.